Let's talk about last night's Raw, shall we? Keeping in line with what has been happening in the previous weeks, we have a brand new general manager for this week. This general manager ends up being Chris Jericho. Jericho comes out, of course he welcomes everyone to Raw as Jericho, and he brings up the fact we're in Detroit Rock City, which makes me really long for watching that movie. I actually need to watch it again sometime soon. Paul Dano, before most people knew who he was. Tonight, he's the special guest general manager, and it's about all the fans. It's about the fans in the building, it's about the fans all around the country, it's about the WWE Universe. And he said he couldn't accept his Slammy last week, but he takes offense to the fact that Fandango accepted it for him. So he calls Fandango out after calling him every name under the sun except for his true name, and here comes Paul Heyman instead. He said, "Truth be told, I'm a Jerichoholic, but I'm not in power tonight. Tonight is Raw as Jericho, literally." Heyman thinks he should be in charge of Raw. Obviously, he has quite a pedigree when it comes to being a general manager. If anyone deserved to accept the Slammy for anything extreme, he gets cut off. And he says he's not the Ayatollah of rock and rolla, but he is the grand poobah of the hardcores, and Jericho calls him the walrus. Cuckoo, cuckoo, because obviously, haven't heard that in a long time. Jericho wants his $200 that Heyman has owed him since 1995. Made a lot of long-time ECW fans laugh. He prods him for it, and Heyman's like, back off. Like, I'm an advocate, I'm not a fighter, I'm not a sports entertainer. I'm not here for Brock Lesnar, I'm here for another reason, and I want to address the situation involving Seth Rollins. Here comes Rollins. He gets right up in Heyman's face, and Heyman takes a step back to try to eliminate Rollins getting up in his face, basically. He says if not for Sting, which of course they're continuing to call him the Vigilante, so yes, Sting is now officially not the Crow, he's officially Batman, the Authority would still be in power. Sting and Cena, Superman and Batman, it makes perfect sense. Come on, if you want to go in that direction. See, if it wasn't for Sting, the Authority would still be in power. I had seen it right where I wanted him last night, but then here comes Roman Reigns, interjecting himself into business he has no right being involved in. John Cena can't beat me on his own. As a matter of fact, he needs help to beat me every single time, because I'm simply that good. John Cena is a coward, and he will accept my challenge to a rematch. Not tonight. Oh no, I have to obviously get better and have to be 100%. But once I'm ready, there's going to be a rematch. Here comes John Cena. He walks out with a purpose. So he says, "Shut your mouth, kid. Basically, grown men are in the ring right now. You lost. When you lose and you're a man, you basically have to live with it. You move on, you live again to fight another day, and you keep fighting. But you haven't learned your lesson. You're still whining about everything. You don't make excuses when you're a man. You continue to fight day in and day out. Even with a beast," he stares right at Heyman. He says, "I want to fight tonight, but I can't make matches. So, who can? I need somebody that can make matches." "Oh yeah, Chris Jericho, you can make matches." So Jericho makes the match tonight inside a steel cage. So we get John Cena and Seth Rollins inside a cage in the main event. Rollins calls Jericho the worst general manager. Worse than Mike Adamle? I don't know. Jericho's simply jealous of Rollins, and he calls him out specifically. He says, "You can't even beat Paul Heyman." And Jericho thinks about it. He's like, "Yeah, I can beat Paul Heyman." And Heyman's like, I think you could beat me. Well, Jericho makes himself a match tonight against Paul Heyman. In a stipulation match that's going to be decided by the WWE app. Well, the three stipulations are a no-holds-barred match, an Extreme Rules match, and a street fight. I can't play the Sesame Street one of these things are not like the other game because they're all the same. Seriously. No disqualification, weapons matches is basically what they are. Street fight, you can wrestle in jeans if you want, but I mean, that's pretty much it. Almost a 30-minute opening segment. But it was alright for what it was, really. I like the chemistry. When Jericho comes out, sometimes he's used not to his fullest of capabilities. This time it actually works really well because it sets up something later in the night that actually worked quite well for me. Rollins interjecting himself, which obviously we could see Rollins and Jericho down the line, somewhere down the line. And with the fact that he keeps name dropping him, and he keeps bringing up the fact that he is the specific reason the Authority are no longer in power, I think there's a possibility we get Seth Rollins versus Sting down the line. I think it's a very good possibility. Should be a good match if that happens, actually. But, yeah, I think that may end up happening, honestly. Sting needs to face Triple H, needs to face Bray Wyatt, and apparently now he needs to face Seth Rollins. So, yeah. So, he's going to face The Undertaker, but that's only on 2K15 at this point. So, yeah, we get our main event announced. John Cena last night was in a stipulation match with Seth Rollins. This time it's a cage match instead of a tables match. So that's our opening. First match of the evening, it is Luke Harper and The Big Show taking on Eric Rowan and the new Intercontinental Champion Dolph Ziggler. Surprised this opened the show. But, it was alright for what it was. We'll go to the end here, and Rowan comes in like a house of fire. Clothesline, avalanche, full Nelson slam, and he punches the Big Show, tries to knock him off the apron, but obviously he just punches the Big Show, and Big Show just kind of just jerks back. It's basically what happens there. An elbow to Rowan, tagging to the Big Show, ducks the clothesline, spinning heel kick. Harper makes him eat the super kick. Dolph clotheslines Harper and sends him through the middle rope to the floor. They both dive over the announce table, and once again almost miss taking out the announcers, which wouldn't have been a big deal at this point. They brawl over the table. This allows the Big Show to knock out punch Eric Rowan, and that's the end of that. Big Show is being built up again for a feud. I did mention that I think that he's going to be feuding with Roman Reigns. I don't have a problem with that if that's going to be what the case is. Keep them both away from the championship. Obviously, everyone's away from the championship at this point. So, yeah, keep them against one another and not do anything else, really. So, yeah. Luke Harper and Dolph Ziggler does continue because they brawled over the announce table and they really didn't do anything after that. So, that'll be fun. And it was announced that tonight, on main event, you're going to see Eric Rowan and Kane. So, Eric Rowan has moved on to something else. Hopefully he beats Kane. And if he loses again, then I think that matches against Heath Slater and on Superstars are in his future. But if not, then maybe they'll do something with him. Putting him in the ring with a giant should have been like the end game. Not right now. We should have built him, but they had to pull the trigger on him quickly, so obviously, this should have been Sheamus' spot. Whether I like it or not, this should have been Sheamus' spot. But Sheamus got legitimately injured, so Eric Rowan had to be interjected into that slot. So, because of that, he's going to be the one that does not get the benefits of this program with the Big Show. He's just got squashed 2 nights in a row, so yeah, there's always that. Chris Jericho shows up in the back to confront Fandango about his Slammy. And he basically says if he wants a Slammy, he's going to have to take it from him. And Jericho says after he gets through with Paul Heyman, he's going to do just that. We get a promo from the New Day talking about their love of positivity. And Kofi does some Maya Angelou style. To me, it kind of sounded like slam poetry is basically what it was. And Big E was preaching and almost ready for him to yell testify. And it worked really well. And he starts sweating and apparently he has a sweating problem. Okay, sure. Bella Twins in tag action against Alicia Fox and Natalya. Okay, I guess. Because all 4 are on Total Divas, so I'm sure this match will be focused on Total Divas next season. Brie ends up tapping out of the sharpshooter after she gets tossed into Nikki, knocks her off the ring apron, and Tyson Kidd actually looked over Nikki to make sure she was okay after the match was over. seeds are being planted, folks. They really are. But Tyson ended up celebrating anyway. He's wearing his Beats headphones and his kitty kick pads, so yeah, that's always fun. Yeah, it was a match. That's it. Rusev and Lana on the highlight reel. Jericho does some comedy, as always, and it eventually brings out Ryback to be the next opponent for Rusev. There's a stare down, and Rusev backpedals and leaves. So we're getting Ryback and Rusev for the United States Championship. Okay. I'll have to see where this is going here. I don't have a problem with this, but obviously the big guy is not going to be the one that takes down Rusev. Not even close, so yeah. And back to the last segment, am I the only one that... I'm sure I'm not, because I've read stuff on Twitter. I still don't understand how Brie could be so forgiving of her sister after what she said. I'm probably not supposed to think that way, though. And why are Alicia Fox and Natalya teaming up? Alicia Fox was a crazy person, like, wrestling against Natalya, and now she's a babyface. I don't know. I did like the chant of, let's go Foxy, and no one bought into it. So, speaking of things no one bought into, rematch from the kickoff of TLC last night, the New Day taking on Goldust and Stardust. New Day is represented this time by Xavier Woods and Big E. And that left Kofi on commentary. Match was a lot longer than I thought it would be. I mean, a lot longer than I thought it would be. Excuse me. So, the match ends up going, like I said, it goes pretty long. Crowd ended up turning on it, started chanting for CM Punk, started chanting for NXT. Obviously, no mention of TakeOver or Evolution on the show at all tonight. Gee, I'm shocked on that one. So, what happens in this match? Whenever the fans started chanting for different things, they went right to front face locks. That's what Stardust did during the match, so I'm sure Cody was getting a tad bit peeved. But basically what happens when fans chant for something, they chant boring, you grab a hold. That's Pro Wrestling 101. So, Big E ends up getting tagged in at this point. And Xavier Woods springboards off Big E's back with a tope con hilo to both of the Dust Brothers on the floor. Tosses him in, tag in Xavier Woods. They hit the big ending facebuster Midnight Hour combo, and that's the end of the match. So yeah, a long match, a lot longer than I thought it would be. It was all right. It was a match. It was what it was. New Day. I'm not sure if they know what they're doing with them yet. You can definitely tell with what's been going on lately. They're not sure exactly how to book them right now, but hopefully they'll come up with something. I like the gimmick, I like the three guys, and I hope that they do something with them. I think they need to do something about the finish, though. I like the big ending into a facebuster, but I liked it the first time when instead of a facebuster, it was a DDT. I think that's a little bit more impactful than a facebuster. So, yeah, if you can make that work, please do. So The Miz and Damian Mizdow are in the back with Renee Young, and basically they're setting up the match with Miz in a singles action against Jimmy Uso. It says tonight credits will roll on Jimmy, and we get the Rosebuds and Adam Rose, and we get our first sighting of former Ring of Honor competitor Jimmy Jacobs. So the Age of the Fall on WWE programming. Not together, not in the same segment, but the Age of the Fall on television, because obviously you have Seth Rollins opening the show, you had Jimmy Jacobs involved in the Rosebuds, and obviously you have Luke Harper in the second match of the evening. So yeah, Age of the Fall taking over Raw. That was kind of cool. I do like the line that someone said on Twitter, like ROH stands for Rosebud of Honor, so that was funny. Jimmy Jacobs is very underrated, and I really wish they'd see him on actual programming. Maybe they'll give him a shot on SmackDown this week, even if he's a job guy to Rusev or anyone else. But I mean, I still would like to see Jimmy Jacobs in WWE. Even if they put him in NXT first, I would still have no problems with that. I'm a big Jimmy Jacobs fan. Obviously, I love the Jimmy loves Lacey angle, and for good reason, because I can totally... Let's just say it's very familiar. We'll just go with that. But yeah, Jimmy Jacobs sighting. And also, as one of the Rosebuds, you get Taylor Hendricks, formerly of TNA, and the Gut Check. So that was kind of cool to see both of them on television. They're prepping for an after party. There's no, like, love loss with the bunny. It's like, there's no, like, indication that they're fighting right now. Kane shows up, and I get one of my favorite lines of the night. Adam Rose's like, look, everybody, it's Kane. And all the Rosebuds are like, yay. So yeah, that was my sentiments exactly. Kane doesn't like Adam Rose, and he calls him a bunch of freaks, and he says, you have a match tonight. Up next against me. Consider the party over. As I choke here, without liquid of some sort. Had a little bit, thankfully. Adam Rose and Kane is your next match. Short. The only thing I can say about this match, a couple bullet points. Adam Rose hits his old slice in the corner. His slice clothesline in the corner that he used to use as Leo Kruger. And then to celebrate, he does the Das Wunderkind Alex Wright dance. Yeah, that was awesome. Walks right in the big boot, Goozle, chokeslam, match over. That's how it normally would be. No. Goozle, Bunny goes to the top rope, Bunny dives off, gets grabbed, goozled, and double chokeslam on Adam Rose and the Bunny. Kane pins Adam Rose, and after the match is over, he grabs the Bunny and tombstones him, and leaves him laying. Don't know what the point of this is. Chris Jericho and Paul Heyman's up next. So Heyman comes out ready to fight, like he's ready to go and do the Great American Bash 1991 against Missy Hyatt. Heyman doesn't find this funny. As a matter of fact, he finds it quite disturbing. He says, the beating you're about to give me certainly isn't going to be PG, but I'll give you one thing. You have to understand that I gave you your break. Technically, Smoky Mountain gave Jericho his break, but then again, that's another thing you're probably not supposed to remember. Even though you do get Smoky Mountain on the network occasionally, and I do mean very occasionally. It wasn't on the network yet. To my knowledge, I know it was on the old WWE like on-demand channel for a while. I know Smoky Mountain episodes were on there every once in a while, but not very often. Heyman goes, how could you fight me over $200? Why don't we just call it even? He pulls out his checkbook, and again, old school ECW fans start laughing. So Jericho slaps the checkbook out of his hand, and they make the announcement it's officially a street fight. Heyman starts backpedaling. And then he makes the announcement that Jericho is going to be fighting Brock Lesnar. Lesnar comes out, wearing his new shirt, mind you. And Jericho hits a couple forearms, gets knocked into the ropes. He goes with the code breaker. Lesnar just like, nope, not going to happen. And picks up Jericho, lays him out with the F5. He leaves, no match. Heyman didn't even go for a pin on Jericho, which could have happened, but no match. I like this. Lesnar and Jericho would be a fun match if they actually gave it some time. But this, like, death machine version of Brock Lesnar is not somebody that's really going to get a lot of time against anybody. That's why he keeps beating up Cena, because it makes sense that eventually Cena's just going to snap and be the one that, like, tries to knocks Brock off his feet just once. I continue. Fandango comes out, gets on the mic, and he says Raw was Jericho. He doesn't have an opponent. Here comes Roman Reigns. Comes through, Fandango tries to talk. He right hands him, spears him. He grabs the mic, to the horror of all the internet wrestling community. The Big Show interrupts him. This will be the only time I'll say thank you, Big Show. He says, you come down to this ring and I'm gonna hit you in the mouth. And Big Show basically says, I'd like to see you try. You put your hands on me, pretty boy. And he gets on the ring apron. He gets Superman punched off, but he doesn't get knocked on the ground. He lands on his feet on the ground. and he throws a Johnny tantrum. For whatever reason, he grabs the ringside steps, and he tosses them into the side of the ring. And that's the end of that. Okay. Planting the seeds for Roman Reigns in the Big Show. Roman Reigns didn't talk, didn't have to, doesn't need to, ever. This is the right way to use Roman Reigns. And a feud with the Big Show, I don't have an issue with. So, we got that. Next week on Raw, your general manager is going to be Ho Hogan. So Hulk Hogan is going to be the GM on Raw. Alright. Not Mick Foley? Not Santa Claus himself? No, not Mick Foley. Hulk Hogan? Okay. Santa with muscles versus I Am Santa Claus. Interesting. So my main event time, The Miz against Jimmy Uso. At one point, The Miz locked in Austin Aries' last chancery. A lot of people will be watching some non-WWE programming lately. People, he said Uso's watching Conan, and apparently Adam Rose was watching, like, Nitro, like watching Alex Wright, and apparently The Miz was watching TNA because he was watching probably was watching Ring of Honor. He was watching Ring of Honor matches with Jimmy Jacobs in the back, and he's like, hey, like, Austin Aries, the last chancery, makes perfect sense. The Jimmy versus the Jimmy Lacey angle yet again. So, Miz goes to a front face lock after the last chancery. Uso axe handles out of it, and he goes for the skull crushing finale, and it is countered. Oh, no, I'm against myself here. So, he ducks the right hand, he goes for the Samoan drop, gets countered, reverse DDT to the knee, old school expulsion, 1-2, and a kick out. Whip in reverse, drop down, he gets kicked in the chest for good measure, and Jimmy with a clothesline, clotheslines Miz over the top rope to the floor, hits the Samoan suicide dive on the Miz, tosses him back in, goes up top, flying body press, 1-2, and a kick out. Super kick gets caught, Miz single leg and goes for the figure 4, gets countered, and Samoan drop connects on the Miz. Mizdow bumps for whatever reason. Skull crushing finale, gets tossed into Jay, nails him with the Slammy Award to the ribs, super kick goes up top, Jimmy hits the Samoan splash, and that's the end of that. Match over, Miz talks to Naomi in the back, says she's going to be the guest star on Miz TV, and I'm trying to get you a deal, I'm a man of my word, and just don't tell Jimmy about it. You deserve a chance at the Divas Championship. Okay. Still not doing anything with this. Hopefully they will. Hopefully this leads to Naomi, like, costing Jimmy the match and maybe turning heel. That'd be interesting. Naomi hasn't been heel for a while, so yeah, that's... Actually, Naomi's never been heel, so I like this. I like this a lot. How about Naomi goes heel and joins The Miz and Mizdow? But then again, this could also bring Maurice back on television, which I'm hearing is a possibility at this point. Let's talk to the main event. John Cena, Seth Rollins in a cage. Okay. A better match than it was last night. We'll pick it up off the midpoint, off the last commercial break. Whip in reverse, and of course, Cena hits the shoulder tackle. Shoulder tackle, ducks the right hand, goes for the protobomb, and goes for the 5-knuckle shuffle. Gets back kicked in the forehead, and Rollins ends up trying to escape the cage, gets caught protobomb, 5-knuckle shuffle, and Cena, of course, goes for the AA, and he tries to toss Seth, knocks Mercury off the cage when he was trying to interfere. AA on Rollins, 1-2, and Rollins kicks out. So Noble stops Cena from exiting the cage, and Cena uses his massive strength to break the door through, like basically muscles the door open. Rollins grabs Cena from behind, and they set up for a superplex. It gets blocked, and they fight on the top rope. So he sends Rollins into the cage twice, and leg drop to the back of the neck, 1-2, and a kick out. Cena climbs up top. Rollins grabs the foot, pulls him off. Seth climbs up. He gets put on the shoulders of Cena, and Seth climbs up off the shoulders and catches the springboard knee strike, 1-2, and a kick out. So he gets tossed into the cage twice, does Cena. Cena gets tossed for the third time. He reverses. Cena tosses Rollins into the cage. Cena goes for the exit door. And Joey Mercury slams it right into Cena's face. Rollins makes a cover 1-2 and a kick out. So he goes for the curb stomp, gets ducked, countered STF off the ankle pick, and he's crawling towards the door while locked in the hold, and Rollins is halfway out. Mercury and Noble grab Rollins. There's a tug of war for Seth Rollins at this point. Cena drags him in, and Noble ends up tossing in the Money in the Bank briefcase. So obviously, you don't powerbomb Billy Kidman, and you don't try to slingshot Seth Rollins, because what happens when he slingshots, he does the flip, and he lands on his feet, nails the leaping back kick, gets a 2 count off of that, goes for the cage shot, Cena ducks it, turns him inside out with a clothesline. They get back to vertical place, they trade blows, goes for the AA, Rollins lands on his feet, nails the cage shot right in the jaw, 1-2, and a kick out. So Rollins climbs up, Cena climbs up to meet him, grabs Rollins, pulls him back in before he's about to exit the cage, picks him up on his shoulders, and AA off the top. So the referee opens the cage door. Lesnar's music hits. He comes out with Paul Heyman and the WWE Championship, which we did not see in the opening segment. Nails Cena with 3 rolling Germans. Nails Cena with an F5. Looks at Seth Rollins. Rollins looks back. Lesnar gestures to take apart Cena, and he exits the cage. Heyman extends his hand, Rollins smirks and shakes it. Lesnar's gone. Well, Heyman's mentioning the mantra, eat, sleep, suplex, disappear, repeat. Eat, sleep, suplex, repeat. And repeat ad nauseum, of course. So Cena gets up, Rollins curb stomps him. Could have went for the pin, but no. You're not going to pin John Cena. So he grabs his briefcase and very slowly, very deliberately, leaves the cage, step by step, with Mercury and Noble on opposite sides of the ring steps, like coaching him. I was like, come on, one more step. And he reaches the floor. Match over. Good match. Reason to tune in tonight, without a doubt. A uneasy alliance with Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman, and Seth Rollins now. But also could be building false sense of security because, don't forget, Heyman has to understand, even though Brock is a monster, no matter if he'll admit it or not, Brock's not infallible. Not at all. He may look invincible at this point, but he has a flaw. And Seth Rollins has already curb stomped him before. He did it at Night of Champions. So obviously, getting in Rollins' ear and trying to coax the only person that has a direct line to potentially take the championship off of Brock Lesnar, putting him in his back pocket is actually a quite masterful maneuver by the Advocate. But is it going to last? Was this just done for tonight, or is it something we're going to go into, or is it something that they're going to build onto later? Should be interesting. Raw tonight's all over the place. Opening segment, almost 30 minutes. Got a lot accomplished. Jericho actually worked as a host tonight, and he ended up taking the F5 and getting laid out. Opening tag match was alright. Some really awkwardness at one point in the match. Big Show ends up knocking out Eric Rowan. Dolph and Harper brawled out of the match, so basically they're continuing. Alicia Fox and Natalya team for no other reason that they're both on Total Divas. We now have the start of a program between Rusev and Ryback, which could actually work. The New Day and Goldust and Stardust had a long tag team match. We see Jimmy Jacobs on Raw. That was kind of cool. Age of the Fall on Raw was kind of cool. Even though they weren't together and they weren't in the same segment. Still cool. The Rosebuds and Adam Rose reacting to Kane the way I do now. Jericho and Heyman, for what it was, the Codebreaker getting swatted off like it was nothing. F5, done the party. Fandango getting obliterated by Roman Reigns. Why? Hulk Hogan's going to be the GM on Raw next week. Alright. Reigns and Big Show are going to start a program. Okay. Jimmy Uso beating The Miz. Alright. Miz trying to get through to Naomi. Good. Who knows where this is going. Main event was good. I think I liked it more if Lesnar attacked both men. But it makes sense in this perspective, to me personally, for Lesnar just to nail Cena and then, yep, you can take care of him now, Seth. Yeah, like I said, getting in your back pocket the only man that could potentially take the championship off of you is quite a calculated maneuver. And I really think that that's the right direction to go. So Raw and TLC combined. Not much to write home about. I very much look forward to a Talking Takeover tomorrow. Or today, in this case, actually. Or tomorrow. I don't know what day it is anymore. Probably going to be Wednesday, actually, when I talk Takeover. Because the vlog of randomness is really, really random this week. Yeah, that was Raw this week. It was kind of there. A lot of questions. A lot of new answers. A lot of new questions. A lot of no answers. We'll see what happens. We're on cruise control of the Royal Rumble, basically, is what it is. So, that was Raw this week. And, as always, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, help spread the word about Pop. If you haven't yet, go to Facebook, click like on our Facebook fan page, it's Suro and Disney Pop. You can also message me on Suro and Disney Pop as well. Some of you out there have done that. If you'd like to send me a friend request via Facebook, it's Owen Disney. Follow me on Twitter at Suro and Disney. If you'd like to talk WWE with me, we could talk about anything under the sun. Talk about my time in the wrestling business. We can talk about how I really think about things that I won't talk about here for good reason. If you would like to talk theme parks or Halloween Horror Nights, Disney, Universal, you want to ask me questions about anything that I can't answer on here, I'll answer you on email. If you have ideas for the vlog of randomness, or if you have ideas for Sip and Snack, or if you have ideas for Versus, or if you'd like to become a popcaster yourself, you can send your emails to suroanddisney@gmail.com. So in the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. We started off with TLC on Monday, Raw today on Tuesday, and Wednesday we finally get to talk NXT TakeOver. And then we'll go back to normal. Because with the schedule this week, Wednesday will also be the vlog of randomness. It's Busch Gardens themed, we'll put it that way. Thursday, brand new Sip and Snack. We're going to be focusing on a few things. Have some cookies, have some Tang, and have some Cheerios. I'm not going to say anything more than that. Friday, AJ's Movie Reviews returns. The Hobbit, Annie, Night at the Museum, and we now sound like we have access to both Citizen 4 and Wild, so that will hopefully be coming out next week. Not this coming week, but next week, with the reviews of a really packed Christmas edition of AJ's Movie Reviews. Stuff like Unbroken and Into the Woods, as well as The Interview, and all of these will be recapped. Plus we have also some other stuff as well, so there's a lot of stuff still to come on Pop. Obviously, Saturday, Ashley should be returning with Gaming with Ash. If not, we do have backup plan just in case. Sunday, brand new verses, and we go back to normal next week. So thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.